Good afternoon, and thank you for attending my virtual town hall today on May 9th, 2020. My name is Gennady Stolyarov II. I'm running for the Indian Hills General Improvement District Board of Trustees. I am on the mail-in primary ballot that was circulated about a week ago to residents. And to be honest with you, I wish this election had taken place later because of all of the recent lockdowns, the physical distancing pursuant to the COVID-19 outbreak that really hampers the ability to get into contact with residents and get to know them, get to hear them out. But hopefully there will be opportunities to do that later on. I'm very pleased at the partial reopening that is happening beginning today. I'm glad that Douglas County, which has not been hard hit by COVID-19 at all, is going to be able to begin reopening its businesses. People are going to be able to earn a living when in some cases they might not have been able to because of these prohibitions. And our district is in a good position to recover right now. And I've been living in the Indian Hills General Improvement District for a little more than 10 years, since March 2010, when I purchased my home here in Sunridge. And with regard to home ownership, that has been a lifelong dream and a priority of mine. Indeed, I made it a goal of mine to pay off my mortgage before turning 30. And I was actually able to accomplish that in December of 2016. I greatly appreciate what it means to own a piece of property, to take care of it, to make sure that it is in good condition. And that, of course, also involves having a stake in the neighborhood, making sure that the neighborhood runs well, that it is a pleasant place to live, that the key infrastructure runs smoothly. And in terms of key infrastructure, the Indian Hills General Improvement District manages the most important infrastructure we have. Our roads, our water system, our sewer system, our parks. A lot of people will take it for granted when it works well, but when it works poorly, people will begin to complain. So if there are cracks or potholes in the roads, or the water is not in good condition, they're going to notice, they're going to complain. And having attended the Board of Trustees meetings as a resident, particularly during the past 3 years, I have gained an appreciation for all the work that goes into maintaining this infrastructure behind the scenes. I have spoken extensively with the general manager, John Lafrano, and his staff. I've gotten to know the current members on the Board of Trustees, and I can say these are excellent individuals. They're hardworking, they're full of integrity, and they listen. So as a resident of this district, I've always been pleased to be able to go to these board meetings and voice my opinion. There's a public comment period. There is a period where members of the public can speak after every agenda item. And if they have any suggestions, if they have any concerns, they can raise those. And I found over the years that a lot of my suggestions have been implemented in terms of what the board actually did. So as an example, during my 2018 campaign for the Board of Trustees, one suggestion that I put forward was electronic billing for the GID water and sewer bill. And that was always something I had wanted ever since I moved in to the district. But in prior years, when the board was exploring options, they found that the options then available were cost prohibitive. But the general manager actually said, I'm going to look into it again and see if I can come up with an arrangement with a bank to allow for an automatic payment plan for the residents. And that's exactly what got implemented in early 2019. Another suggestion that I had that got implemented was in 2014, when the board implemented phased-in rate increases for water and sewer infrastructure improvements. I wanted to make sure that the residents understood how this money was going to be used. So if they were paying these higher rates, they would know that this money was actually going to improving that infrastructure. So I suggested that in the monthly newsletter that accompanies the water bill, there be a disclosure of how much money was collected for each of these funds, and essentially a reaffirmation of the fact that this money is being kept in reserve to be used for these infrastructure improvements. And these disclosures have been happening in many of these monthly newsletters. And furthermore, because I attend the board meetings, I hear discussions about how much money is left within these funds, what projects this money is going to be devoted toward. And I believe the system has worked extremely well. So we're fortunate to be living in a district where the officials know the people and they're responsive to the people. And if I'm elected to the Board of Trustees, I want to continue along those same lines. I want to be a liaison between the residents of the district and the board and the GID staff. So a bit more about me. I am a property and casualty actuary by profession, and actuaries take a rigorous series of professional examinations in order to become fully credentialed. While they study for these exams, they're also able to work. So it's a great career when you graduate right out of college, especially if you've taken a few of these preliminary exams, to launch into a job, but at the same time you have to study. You have to spend a lot of your time, several hours each night, essentially learning complex mathematics, probability, statistics, and also various details about insurance, how various insurance products work. So I was doing that from 2007 to 2017 when I got my Fellow of the Society of Actuaries professional credential, and I have 10 professional insurance credentials in total. So essentially I've devoted my 20s to obtaining these professional credentials, to studying, to accumulating savings, to paying off my house so that I can be a member of this community who is fully invested in its well-being. This is where I've chosen to make my stand. And I want my community, I want my neighborhood to be in the best possible condition going forward. Now, what do I stand for? I stand for putting the facts first. When the Board of Trustees makes a decision, we need to look at the circumstances before us. We need to look at what makes sense from a cost-benefit standpoint. For instance, if we have competing options for a bid on equipment, we need to study each of these options and look at which one will benefit the district and the people of the district most in the long term. We need to look at ways to be cost effective while at the same time maintaining high quality of infrastructure. And one of the main ways to do that is through technology. If there are technologies that allow us to both save money and get a better result, those will be a prime area of interest for me. I strongly believe that this job, the job of the Board of Trustees, is nonpartisan, and it needs to be nonpartisan. So I intend to represent everyone in this district, no matter what your political views may be, how they may differ from mine. It doesn't matter from the standpoint of the goals of the district. which are to maintain crucial infrastructure. And we do live in a very politically divisive era, but I think some of those divisions are needlessly amplified by the media and by some politicians, and they don't need to be that way. We have more in common than what divides us. We all want a good standard of living. We all want to be able to go outside and enjoy our neighborhoods. We all want the water flowing. We all want the sewer systems functioning smoothly. We all want to drive on good roads. And I think we all have ideas about how that can be done. And I strive to approach each resident in a spirit of sincerity and transparency. When you talk to me about the issues, I believe that you're earnest in what you're saying, and I will take you seriously. And hopefully, we can reason through any areas of concern together. We may not always agree at the end, but hopefully we will agree on something, and hopefully we will figure out a way to move forward somehow. Now, at the same time, I am very cognizant that people have their own personal domains, their own private property. And I'm a staunch supporter of private property rights. The reason why I worked so hard throughout my life to fully pay off my house, to be able to fully own this piece of land that I live on, is because I want to do what I think is best with it. And I support the right of every resident to do the same with their property. So I like the fact right now that the General Improvement District maintains common sense ordinances to ensure public health and safety, to make sure the infrastructure is maintained smoothly, that it's not tampered with, that sidewalks aren't obstructed. But these requirements pertain to the common areas of the neighborhood. What I don't support is any restriction on what color you may paint your house, or what you may plant in your yard, or what statuary, what decorations you may have. That's all up to you. That is your private property right. And I believe that your home is your domain, and that's what I will strive to protect. So in the areas of the district where there is no homeowners association currently, and that's the majority of the district right now, that's Indian Hills, that's Sunridge, I will forever oppose the establishment of any homeowners association. If there are neighborhoods that already have homeowners associations, well, that was the choice of their residents. In the gated communities, that's their prerogative. But if there's no homeowners association in a place now, there should never be a homeowners association there. I firmly believe that, because when people purchased their homes here, many of them, myself included, made that decision in reliance on the fact that there would not be a homeowners association. And we see, walking around the neighborhood, running around the neighborhood, which I do every evening. I run most evenings 5 or more miles. We live in a beautiful area, and most people take great care of their homes. We have such a variety of decor in the yards, a variety of landscaping. There have been some great paint jobs done on a lot of the homes recently. And I'm just thrilled to see the creativity. I'm thrilled to see the diversity that's created by these individual decisions. That's what makes a neighborhood appealing. That's what gives it character. We don't want a cookie cutter neighborhood. We don't want a neighborhood where somebody dictates what sorts of flowers you may or may not plant in your yard. So I'm not aware, by the way, of any specific plans to introduce new homeowners associations in the district. But if you want to be really sure that there won't be one, if you want an advocate who will seek every step of the way to prevent one from forming, then vote for me. Now, furthermore, I am quite open to resident initiatives. So if you have an idea for an effort that will improve life in the neighborhood, particularly if you're willing to work personally for it, and you're willing to work for it at no additional cost to the General Improvement District, I will hear you out. So please reach out to me on those ideas, and I will think about how to realize them within the framework of the GID's mission and goals. And again, here we have to think about what the GID was formed to do. It was formed to primarily maintain infrastructure, the water system, the sewer system, the roads, and the parks. And there may be additional amenities that you think of that are good for the district, but in some cases, maybe the GID isn't the best venue for it, but some other venue might be better. Perhaps even just purely voluntary cooperation among the neighbors might achieve it. So in that case, I might help you to think outside the box of how to get it done and how to keep the GID doing what it was primarily intended to do. And I also want to express my position on development within this area. My general outlook on this is I believe it is possible to have more of everything that everyone considers good. And I understand the people who want to have a lot of open space in our area and in Douglas County in general. We have a great network of trails here. And I myself, as a runner, have gone on these trails. I have enjoyed them. I believe we should keep a lot of them. But also, it's essential for people to be able to afford their homes here. And over the past several years, we've seen essentially a doubling in real estate prices in Nevada. We have not seen a doubling in incomes. And I say this as a person who fully owns his home. I don't intend to sell my home in the foreseeable future. But if someone were in the same position that I was in 10 years ago, just starting out, he couldn't buy the house I have today. And that is troubling to me because in America, we have always prided ourselves on upward socioeconomic mobility. We have always prided ourselves in the ideal that if you work hard, you should be able to earn your way up into a comfortable standard of living, a middle class or upper middle class standard of living at the very least. And with housing prices being so sky high right now, most young people are completely priced out of that opportunity. I worry that they may perpetually be renters in our area. So how do we prevent that? We need more housing stock. We need more homes built everywhere in northern Nevada, but in Douglas County as well. And we need to do it intelligently. So I'm not suggesting building a cluster of homes without appropriate facilities, without outlets for people to drive from and reach the major road arteries of our area, without sidewalks for people to walk on. No, we need all of that supporting infrastructure. And of course, within the bounds of the district, we need water and sewer connections to the systems of the district. And I've attended a lot of the board meetings where incremental annexations to the district were discussed. So suppose a person wants to build a new house on his land, or a developer has a couple of tracts of land and wants to build new homes there. There's a detailed application process. It gets reviewed by the chief engineer. It gets reviewed by the general manager. There's an effort to make sure everything is compliant with code. And that is a desired approach. So the district has historically undertaken a very intelligent case-by-case consideration of the new construction projects and the new annexations. And from my experience, all of them that I have seen during the board meetings have been approached very responsibly. And we need that to continue. We need new development in our neighborhood. Some of this development, by the way, is going to be outside the boundaries of the GID altogether. And so it won't be in the GID's purview per se to make a decision either way regarding that development. But it is going to help in terms of making sure that people can get a good start in life here. So all of our residents, I think, have a common interest. We want the area to be affordable. We want the area to be well taken care of. We want the area to be beautiful. And we want the area to offer opportunities, both for economic prosperity as well as for recreation. I was quite pleased, despite the very difficult, turbulent times that we have been living through during this pandemic, that I could still go outside and I could run many miles, and I didn't have to come into close proximity with other people. If there was another person walking or running or riding a bike, I could just run to the other side of the street and be completely fine, and everyone could stay completely safe and healthy. And that's a great part of living in our district. Another great part of living in our district is that I think all of our residents are fundamentally good people. They're people of integrity. They're people of goodwill. You can talk to them. You can rely on them for assistance if assistance is needed. There's a great spirit of mutual aid here in the district. On nextdoor.com, there are posts all the time of people seeking help in one way or another, or people seeking to hire somebody to provide a service. So there's a great little local economy that has arisen as a result of that. And I want to make sure that that character of the district continues, while at the same time we grow and we prosper, and we make sure that new entrants into our district are welcomed. New people starting out in life are welcomed, because this is an area that has great potential for the years and decades to come. So thank you very much. With that, I will unmute all of the participants, and I will open this up for any questions. What I will say also is that I will share a video recording of this town hall in the next few days. I'll try to work on it in the near future. And so if you have fellow residents, your friends, your acquaintances who you think would be benefited from hearing this message, please share that video with them. They're welcome to reach out to me. My email address is Gennady Stolyarov ii@gmail.com. That is my first name, my last name, and then 2 I letters for the second at gmail.com. So I do see a question here. All of the other candidates have listed their address, but you haven't. Why? So first of all, I'll say I live in Sunridge. You can see me in Sunridge if you're outside, even during the evenings when I'm running. The reason why I haven't listed my address is because more people than just the residents of this district are going to see this address. And you can't rely on every single person out there on the internet to be a person of integrity like the people in this district. So as you're well aware, online trolling is a big problem. And especially during election cycles, especially during a time of political division, trolls can do terrible things to people. They can engage in doxing, they can engage in online harassment, they can engage in threats. So it's better, I think, to enable people to contact one in ways that don't compromise one's privacy as much. But by not broadcasting it out there, it makes it harder for the random troll who's not that serious to find it. And that's really the only reason. That's why I maintain a P.O. box. It is to have that conduit of communication with the general public. But really, in this day and age, in the age of the internet, you're a lot likelier to reach out to someone via email or via an online platform like nextdoor.com. And if you are a member of this neighborhood, if you see me out there running or walking and you want to have a conversation, I'm happy to do that. When the restrictions get relaxed a bit more, I'll be happy to even let you, my fellow resident, know where I live. It's just, I don't want some random trolls out there to know that. I'm not seeing any questions right now, but thank you for attending. Again, there will be a recording of my remarks during this town hall available on YouTube. Please share it when it is posted. I'll post a link to it on Nextdoor. And one last comment that I will make is, I think when voting, it's really important to consider individual candidates and their positions and what they stand for. So whatever ballot you've gotten, whether you've gotten a partisan ballot or a nonpartisan ballot, I would just encourage you to research every individual and form your decisions accordingly. Don't just vote on a party line basis. Don't just vote on what you expect the party affiliations of someone to be. Because especially for local positions, who the person is really matters. And my preference would be, in American politics generally, for people to just look at the person, who the person is, what the person stands for. Is this a person of character and integrity? And if we all did that, how much better would our political system be? So that's something to think about, a last-minute takeaway. But I hope everyone has an excellent remainder of the day and of the weekend. Please devote some time and attention to your primary ballot. Your vote is valuable, and your voice in this neighborhood is valuable. Thank you very much.